Hey, it's Rick with Rock Bottom Outreach, and it is Real Talk Thursday. This was very odd. You understand, a lot of times during my quiet time in my stillness, I'm seeking God usually on a daily basis to say, what is it you want me to share during Real Talk? I don't just write these things down for a month in advance. I mean, it is as God brings it to me. But it was weird because He only brought me a few words this time. And I made a note of it, and it was this: don't miss it. And when I went back to look at my note, that's it. That's all it said was don't miss it. And I'm like, don't miss what? Because obviously I've missed it because I don't remember what even that means. And so I continue to go throughout the day, just kind of watching, listening. We get so busy, man, that we miss it. And again, and so kind of with that said, I want to talk about happy days. Man, I love happy days, but my favorite one was Christmas. When Richie and his family, they do all this festive stuff on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And then there's Fonzie, Fonzie's, he's just a cool guy and he don't need nobody. His old man walked out of his life when he was little, and just Fonzie was steadfast, man. He was a cool cat. He was rock solid. But on this Christmas, they're talking about on Christmas Eve what they're going to do. And they're like, well, Fonzie, what kind of plans do you have? And he's like, man, I'm going to Chicago. Got big plans, big family, big dinner, all this stuff. And kind of Richie's kind of like, okay, I mean, that's great. And he's like, man, something just doesn't add up. And so Richie kind of shared with his dad, and he's like, man, Dad, I think Fonzie's going to be alone tonight. And so they came up with this story, and they go over there, and sure enough, Fonzie's still there, but he's running out the door, and he's got a suitcase, and he's got his coat on, and he's like, hey, I got to go, I got a bus to catch, I got to get out of here. And so they're like, man, hey, hate to bug you, but we have the Santa Claus, and he's doing crazy things, and he's just not working. Do you think, really and truly, you might have some time to come look at it? And so Fozzie's like, man, I hate to miss my bus, but yeah, I'll come and look at it. And so as I started to walk out, Richie bent down to grab Fonzie's suitcase, and he could tell it was empty. Fonzie wasn't going anywhere. And Fonzie kind of looked at him and knew Richie was onto it. So Fonzie came over and, he fixed the snowman and he just dove right in. And the truth was, Fonzie needed someone at that time, okay? But he never would admit it. And here's what I'm talking about today. We're so fixated on what is in front of us. I mean, we're very visual. And so we believe when God brings something or someone into your life, the obvious purpose is what you see. It's not the unseen. And so a lot of times that person comes, an angel, if you call it, and you're like, man, I needed you, and God brought you into my life because I need you. And we believe it's for the task that you see, not the unseen. But the truth is this: a lot of times God brought that person into your life not for what you can see at the time, because there's a bigger picture. And a lot of times that person's in your life because they need you as much as you need them. And so again, I always say, God only lets you see a little bit of what's behind the big black curtain. And we forget what we pray for. I'll be honest with you. We forget about the desires of our heart and something we've been searching for. And all of a sudden God brings it into your life. And you know what? You miss it. That's what God told me when he said, don't miss it. And I missed it because I must have missed it at the time until today. And God began to show me. What or whom has God brought into your life that you've been praying for a long time? And it may not look like you thought it would look, but if you blink, you might miss what God is trying to show you. My question, though, today, being Christmas Eve, is there a Fonzie in your life that pretends like they got it all together and they act like they don't need anyone, but they need you as much as you need them? If there's a Fonzie laying on your heart, why don't you reach out and invite them over for Christmas Eve? Don't let that Fonzie be alone. And water whom God has brought into your life, don't miss it. Hey, happy Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve. It's Rick with Rock Bottom Outreach. And it's been Real Talk Thursday.